Yes, guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to La Piña Rosa. Now, before we get into it, if you're wondering why is this show a day earlier, why is it at 3 p.m. UK time on a Sunday? That is because of course, Christmas. Christmas coming up. We decided we're going to do both shows in quick succession before, we go away for Christmas and stuff. So today, we will bring you La Piña Rosa, of course, talking about Deportivo and Palermo. And then tomorrow, in quick succession, like I said, we will be bringing you Year of the Bird, of course, where we talk about Spurs and Newcastle. Or I pretty much should just rename it Depression TV at this point, if I'm being really honest. But yeah, that is sort of the plan. And then after Christmas, we will be back with Year of the Bird. And then I think come just after the new year, La Piña Rosa will return after both sides from both their domestic leagues have their winter breaks. Of course, as we know in the Prem, there isn't really a winter break. So yeah, this will be the last La Piña Rosa of 2025 before we return in 2026. In this show, we're of course going to be talking about the weekend games, which didn't go well, unfortunately, for either of our team. And also, we're going to be given sort of half-season awards. We're going to be talking about player of the season so far, game of the season so far, goal of the season so far. And I guess also just generally kind of talk about, where both clubs are at, what are the expectations going into the second half of the season? Has the first half of the season matched expectations so far? All of that sort of stuff that we will get into. But yeah, if you haven't already, guys, tonight, Morocco against Comoros 10. We'll be doing a watch along. So go and check that out if you guys if you're around later. But yeah, 10, of course, welcome back. Look, it's not been going well for either of us, really, across both our teams, to be honest, this weekend especially. But yeah, welcome back to the show. How you doing?
Yeah, doing good. Earlier today, it was snowing for the first time in
Yeah.
time, at least where I am. So it was quite nice to see. But yeah, in terms of the football, yesterday, obviously, Palermo, well, not really Palermo for me, but Deportivo, Newcastle didn't get either of them didn't get a win. But if there's only solace, because it is the winter solace, you know, uh, the abbreviation is Asian Champions League, ACL, is what I'm hearing of a certain player. But I won't talk about it tomorrow. I won't talk about it tomorrow until that time. So, but yeah, doing good just in general. But the football, to be honest, I'm more looking forward to the AFCON than the Newcastle game away at Man United, you could say.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. I think I'll be watching more AFCON as well, to be honest, because like I just can't put up with what's going on at Spurs anyway. Palermo, definitely better, but not great yesterday. Of course, which we will get into. But yeah, if you haven't already, guys, please do like the stream, subscribe to both of our channels if you haven't already. Get all your thoughts in the chat on all the stuff we go over today. But yeah, I guess we'll get straight into it. Of course, Deportivo. It's not been going well in the league. Obviously, we'll talk about another defeat in the league. However, they did get a big win in the cup that I don't think many people expected. And they went and beat a La Liga team. They went and knocked out Mallorca of the Copa del Rey. They are into the last 16, where we could see them face the likes of Real Madrid, Barcelona, Atletico, Betis. There is potential.
And of course, the team that Villarreal. Oh wait,
yeah, Santander knocked them out. So more than just one upset we saw in that round of the Copa del Rey. But look, it was definitely, especially with Deportivo's recent form in the league, it was definitely a result that I didn't see coming. I know 10 did predict a win in this game, which I wasn't sure about, but. Obviously, yeah, you see here, it was a very sort of changed lineup. Obviously, the likes of Jeremy, Zakaria on the bench as well. Charlie Patino, incredible player, of course, there. So it was definitely It was definitely a changed team. Obviously, Mulattieri, the former Sassuolo striker, and unfortunately, Frosinone striker coming in. Against what was a changed Mallorca team. Obviously, you got notable players like Muriqi on the bench and everything. Didn't even come on in this game. So yeah, they definitely made a lot of changes as well. But look, it was definitely a big sort of upset in the cup. La Liga 2 team, although Deportivo are high up in the table, knocking out Mallorca, who made a cup final, the Copa del Rey final a couple of years ago. So yeah, 10. I know you predicted a win for this game, which I don't know how you called it, but what did you think of the game?
Yeah, obviously the first half wasn't that great. It was kind of expected Mallorca would have more of the ball, have more shots, and everything. Obviously, because they are in La Liga, so you expect them to have better quality players, especially when Yaramai and Zakaria, and even I believe even David Mayer wasn't even on this in this. Oh, actually, he was.
Oh no, Mayer was starting. Yeah, Mayer was starting. But it was a lot of these guys here, like the midfielders, centre backs. These aren't like starters usually. Lopez in there as well.
Yeah.
You look at your bench, obviously Soriano, Cruz, Stoichkov, all starters on the bench for this game.
Yeah. So I think I did expect both us and Mallorca to kind of change up the teams, obviously, because there's a lot more things in the league that are more that both teams need to do. Mallorca with competing against relegation and Deportivo trying to get promoted. So it was more of like who could take the chance in the game, and thankfully, it was us. Late on in the game, I think maybe first half, I would say Mallorca were the better team, obviously, because they had more chances in the game. But second half, I think we were a lot better. But yeah, when we scored the goal in the second half, near the end of the game as well, Carrillo getting the goal. And
Carrillo, yeah. Carrillo.
Good, decent finish, I would say. I mean, I would say not great defending by Mallorca for that goal, but ultimately it was a goal that decided the game for us, and on to the next one, as Arsenal like to say.
A Champions League journey to be proud of. Is this a Copa del Rey journey to be proud of?
I mean, at least we have beaten a team that has been in a final, unlike Arsenal, very more recently, you could say.
Or Sunderland.
True. So I would say, obviously, with the last 16 of the Copa del Rey, 15 out of 16 teams have already made it, because Rayo Vallecano play after New Year because they played the Conference League game, which they have finished in the top 8 as well, Rayo. So the Granada Rayo game isn't until the 6th of January, and I believe the draw for the round of 16 isn't until like the 7th or 8th.
Oh, that's annoying, because it would have been good to talk about it.
We have to Granada game against each other. So, but it is for sure we're going to get a La Liga team, but this time it'll be an open draw. But all the Segunda teams, because it's only Segunda and La Liga that are remaining, I think. Well, I do expect Rayo Vallecano to beat Granada after New Year in the cup. So that would mean there would be 11 La Liga teams and 5 Segunda teams, and we can only get La Liga teams for the round of 16. But it's an open draw, so we could get, Barcelona, Real Madrid. Especially if you saw Barcelona were 0-0 against.
They struggled. Yeah.
Like until like the 7th.
But did you see Madrid? Madrid almost lost it to the team they played are in like the 4th. Are they in the 4th tier or something?
Something like that. Talavera.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So there's maybe a chance if Deportivo were to draw one of those teams. Even Atletico Madrid, they won 3-2 against, coincidentally, the rivals of Mallorca in the previous round. And, Athletic Club not that impressive against Orense this past Thursday. So, I'm not saying I'm confident with Deportivo, going to a quarterfinal. If Deportivo actually make a semifinal, that would be impressive.
That's nuts. Yeah, as a La Liga 2 team, that would be pretty.
Yeah, and incredible. The only team from Galicia, because Albacete knocked
Yeah,
out Celta Vigo.
you're right. Your rivals are out.
Yeah. So
So
maybe
at least you've gone further than Celta Vigo. I
yeah,
guess you
just
could be
kind of
happy about that.
yeah, because now we're the only team from Galicia left in the cup, so hopefully we can go far in it. So we'll see. I mean, wasn't the best performance against Mallorca, but both teams made changes, so that's kind of why. Um, but obviously, it didn't really help the league form, unfortunately. But we'll see who we get in the round 16, which I think is played on the 13th, 14th, 15th, that midweek. So, like, what, the second week of January is the last 16. So, we'll find out who we get, I think, on the 7th or 8th. So, my hope, you know what? Just to see some of their tiers, give me Barcelona. No, I don't know. I do want one of the big two. Obviously.
So I was going to ask you, would you rather get a more winnable game to go further, or would you rather have
To be honest, I
the
want
chance
to,
of playing like Barca, Madrid, like these sorts of teams?
yeah, I would say. Well, actually, I would say our record against Madrid is historically the most famous. The 2004 Cup win, the famous
Yeah,
100-year anniversary, and Deportivo beat Madrid in the Bernabeu. But but we will, but because we're hosting a La
It's funny.
Liga.
2004 was a good year for both because Palermo got promoted that year.
Oh yeah, and Deportivo won the cup, and I think Newcastle at that time were like
Although 2004 was a horrible year for Spurs, if you know, you know, basically. If you know, you know.
Remember. But yeah, you know what? Give me Barca or Madrid, Atletico, I guess. But yeah, I do want one of the big two, and we will host no matter who we get because we're the lower team basically. So we have to host a La Liga team. So if we make it to the next round, we also get to host the quarterfinal and then semifinal. Obviously, it's home and away. But at the moment, for me, I would love to get Barcelona or Real Madrid and knock them out.
That'd be hilarious. That'd be hilarious.
That'll be the funniest thing, just to see either of the fans have tears, like oh, and all that. We'll see.
I'll tell you, if Deportivo play Barca and you guys somehow produce a miracle and knock them out, we need to get Omar on this show.
Yeah. It's absolutely disgraceful. But yeah, looking forward to the next round of the cup, I guess. At least it's something that obviously now Deportivo, you could say, are fighting on two fronts now, Unlike Palermo, only one, which we'll get.
Yeah, look, the Coppa Italia is different. Like Coppa Italia, look, I mean, it is what it is. There's not much I can say. I mean, it would have been nice. I mean, I wanted us to beat Udinese so we could play Juventus. That would have been great, but
knock them out. Yeah,
didn't happen.
Oh well, but yeah, just not been a good game yesterday as well. Thinking the league form.
Yeah, obviously. So Deportivo, you're thinking, they've knocked out a La Liga team in the cup. It's a big win sort of thing. Is this an end to their recent, couple of losses in the league? But Deportivo lost yet again in La Liga 2 this time. Probably one of the worst defeats. I mean, last week against Sociedad B was bad, but FC Andorra, who were down the bottom, very close to the relegation zone, Deportivo have lost 1-0 in this game. Another late goal conceded. A very poor performance overall, from what I saw anyway. Andorra obviously had higher XG, more chances, all of this.
Yeah.
As you can see, the lineup, a lot of the starters coming back in. Soriano, Zakaria, Hernandez. A lot of them coming back in from the Mallorca game. But unfortunately, it was yet another loss. It was the same performance that they've seen for the last 3 games. That's now 3 league defeats in a row after, getting how many wins in a row was it? Like 5 or something?
At least more than Man United have done.
Yeah, exactly. So it's hard to kind of describe what's going on with Deportivo at the moment because I don't think I've seen many teams go from such an incredible run of form to then so from consistently winning to then all of a sudden you start consistently losing. 3 losses in a row.
At least we're consistent.
Well, you're going through, yeah, exactly. But
Mm.
this obviously wasn't good. This was another lackluster performance that wasn't good enough at all, especially against the caliber of opposition in Andorra. And it has resulted in Deportivo dropping out of the automatic spots, which
Right.
look, still only 2 points from second, which is good. However, it's another loss, as you can see, 3 losses in a row. Cádiz
Yeah.
next, who aren't too far away from them. And
Have
look,
yet. Yeah.
exactly. And look, it's not looking good. They're 5 points off first now, so that position's slowly slipping away.
Especially with Santander, drew yesterday as well.
Exactly. So even with their draw, they still gained a point. They still gained 2 points on you guys over the last couple of games. So look, this is obviously not great. Deportivo falling out of the top 2. They really had the chance with some of the fixtures they've had. They really had the chance to sort of pull away.
Or at least
Now they find themselves sitting outside of the top 2. So, Tem, what was your thoughts on this game and kind of just in general your sort of recent run? I mean, what do you think the problems are, and what happened in this game especially?
Yeah. I mean, we should have actually scored the first goal because there was a chance whereby we hit the crossbar and then Victoria immediately had the net in front of him and we somehow missed. I'm pretty sure that was like at least a 1xg potential type of chance. I actually have to look how much of an expected goal that.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that. Yeah, he's a sitter. Like he's basically missed an open goal.
It says, I'm trying to find what was that attempt. It was I believe, so that was a 0.4 xg, but it was a very open net in a way. Obviously, I know there were 2 defenders blocking the net, but could have scored the first goal and maybe it would have helped. And big up to Scott, especially just for me.
Oh, big up to Scott every single time.
And whoever the other guy is. But yeah, I think overall, just not a great performance. Especially, we played in a way 3 consecutive home games, including the cup, and only scored 2 goals in that time. The cup win and that 1 goal against Castellon, and then obviously we didn't score in this game. So I would say the problems are probably, I would say the pressure, I would say.
There's no Serie J.
But I would say maybe Serie Z. But I think, what do you call this? I would feel the goal scoring hasn't really been that good nowadays. Since December, I feel like we actually did do no.
It's like in November you had an incredible run. Now in December you've just fallen off a cliff for some reason.
Yeah. I mean, thankfully, certain teams around us haven't really picked up, apart from Castellon, in terms of winning consistently. So that's at least some solace in losing 3 in a row, which is not good. And our fixtures in January aren't that easy as well. But I would say at the moment, goal scoring's been a problem. I would say you could even say defensively. I think had we taken 1 or 2 of our chances in this game and previous games before, maybe we don't lose at all 3. Maybe we get a point or 2 or even at least 1.
Yeah, I think you guys haven't been clinical in the last couple of games. You've missed too many chances. I mean, but here's the problem. You had 1 shot on target in this game.
Yeah, and I think that has to be something to be worked on going into the winter break. So we're off for 2 weeks now until our next game on the 4th or 3rd or 4th of January against Cádiz, which I believe is at home. So especially with losing back-to-back home games in the league is not good. So I would say goal scoring has been a bit of a problem now since December started. So it's going to be quite interesting, especially with the league table not looking good, because obviously we're not in the top, the top 2 right now. But, there's still, it's not even halfway technically into the season.
Yeah.
And
No, look, it's still look. You're still only 2 points off.
yeah, and
You guys, you have to be more consistent. That's for sure.
Yeah, and Almeria just lost just before we did this show against Malaga, and now Malaga was kind of climbing up as well.
They have, yeah. They were struggling early, and now they've sort of risen up.
Yeah,
the
and
table.
the lowest we can be is 4th if Castellon were to win later tonight against Cádiz, who are our next opponents. And that seems to be quite a good game to look forward to. So hopefully maybe a draw at least. Hopefully not Castellon win, because then we'll drop down even below them. So we'll see. I think at the moment it's just about making sure that we can get back into form in January, or at least I feel like we have to kick on. If not in January, hopefully in like February, March.
I think the winter break has come at the right time. It's fair to say. I mean, you're on this, which is crazy to say, because you were on incredible form, and then you just all of a sudden just started losing games like in a row.
Yeah. So hopefully, we can kick into form again. Around the start of the new year, and we'll see how it goes. But obviously not looking good. But well, in terms of my expectation, I did expect minimum top 6. So at least that's something.
I mean, you're still very much in a shout for the top 2. No question about it. But like you said, if you don't fix, the being clinical in front of goal, these sorts of problems that sort of some of the defending as well that's costing you these games, I think that the top 2 is going to slip away quite quickly. And I think that, that's obviously not great, considering, like I said, you've been in the top 2 for quite a few weeks now. You've had the chance to sort of put a bit of a gap there, and you just haven't been able to do it. You just kind of flattered to deceive in that sense. So yeah, obviously not great. Another loss for Deportivo. Definitely the winter break coming at the right time. Hopefully it can kind of put a stop to this, and you guys can kind of kick on after the break and everything. But yeah, definitely not great. And like I said, against Andorra, who are sort of down here, it's not the kind of team that you guys should be losing to. It's as simple as that. So yeah, not great at all. I guess as well, seeing as this is the last show before the January transfer window, I guess the last thing I'll ask you before we move on is sort of what players do you think you need to bring in January? Like, sort of what positions would you say? And what do you kind of expect from the transfer window from Deportivo?
I would say probably better defenders, I would say, especially with the last few games. I think the forward line, I mean, at the moment, obviously have Zakaria and Militieri. I don't know. And also, I forgot who's the other one. The one that usually plays in the cup.
Stoichkov.
And also Stoichkov. So I would say we still have decent amount of quality attackers, especially with Jeremiah and David Meyer. I think as long as those guys are fit and stay after the transfer window, then I would say we have a shot. I would say if we, knock on wood, if we somehow lose Jeremiah, either through hopefully not injury or or transfer, then maybe it might be a bit of a problem. But obviously,
that's the thing. I reckon if you lose Jeremy and maybe Meyer, I think you guys might. I think that could kind of really screw over your season. So I think it's important that you keep them.
Yeah, at least for the end of the season, we will see where we are. Hopefully in La Liga, but I think I would say defenders are probably what we need the most in terms of improvement. I think midfield may be a better defensive midfielder or someone like that, because I do think Soriano is a pretty good midfielder that can be very creative. I would say so. I would say someone that can kind of protect the back line. So I would say it's more defensive things we need to work on, because I still think the attacking quality is still more than good enough to help us win games. So I'll probably say it would be that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, big up to you every single time as well. Yeah, I think that It would be good. I think the motive for Deportivo, because you've got sort of these sort of younger talents and everything, I think it's important that you obviously keep them. And yeah, I think defense, you definitely have to look at strengthening that defense. I think that if you do that, I think, yeah, if you keep those guys, if you bring in some defenders, I think second half of the season, I think that sets you up well to hopefully if you guys get promoted into La Liga and finish in that top two, of course. So yeah, but I guess we will now move on. We will
Well,
move.
there's also the preview of Cádiz.
Oh yeah, I forgot. My bad. Yeah, because it's a while away. Yeah, so I guess we'll
Yeah.
quickly talk about Cádiz. Of course, this game for Deportivo will be after the winter break, so it's quite sort of hard to talk about it now. But I guess what's your sort of early thoughts on it?
I mean, well, obviously we'll see what Cádiz do later tonight against Castellón, which is going to be a really tough game because you see how very good Castellón are. Even though I saw Pablo Hernandez, the manager, and everyone knows him through Swans and the leagues. Unfortunately, I saw he's in the hospital, so he won't be at the Castellón game. So I'm hoping Cádiz actually do well, surprisingly, just so that Castellón doesn't go above us. But prediction, I mean, I remember we beat them 5-2 at their ground last season, but we're hosting them in January. I will go, hopefully we improve our form. It's in 2 weeks. I will say 2-1 Deportivo. That'll be my prediction.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say. I think, hopefully, again, it's just way too early to talk about, to be honest. I mean, Palermo, the winter break isn't till the week after next week. So obviously we'll be able to talk about our next game in more detail. But with Deportivo, yeah, it's hard because obviously your next game isn't for quite a while, not until like, early January. So yeah, I think it's hard to give a prediction. I think based on what you're showing now, like if this game was next week, I'd probably predict you guys to maybe lose. But maybe because it's after the break, maybe you're kind of, the break will help you guys and you'll sort of regroup and everything. So I guess I'll go for you guys to bounce back 2-1. Why not? But again, there's not really too much to sort of talk about, really.
Yeah, and hopefully, get back into form, and we'll see what the winter break does for Deportivo and see, if we can somehow make early transfers before that game as well. So we'll see.
Yeah, we will see. But yeah, I guess we will move on now to Palermo. Palermo took on Avellino this weekend, and it was a disappointing draw for Palermo. It was 2-2. 2-2 after Palermo did turn the game around to go 2-1 up. Look, I'm going to say this right now. I think a draw was a fair result on the balance of play. I didn't think this was one of Palermo's best performances of the season. I think Avellino were much the better team in the first half. I think they created the better chances. They deserved their goal when they got it. And ultimately, it wasn't good enough. It was just a terrible performance in the first half. Obviously, we weren't helped by the fact that Pirozzi was injured for this game. For me, our player of the season so far, our right wing back, and of course Diakite coming in, which look, I have a lot to say about this guy. As you can see, a couple of changes. Patrick Pedder coming in for Birinsinski. Otherwise, pretty much the same from the last few games. Poyampalo, Palumbo, Le Duron, Agello, Ranocchia, Segre, Banni, Ceccaroni, and Jolonen in goal. So more or less exactly.
I want to think from my wife.
Yeah. But this was obviously Avellino, just to point out as well. Gennaro Tutino, our former striker, up front for them. So spent one season with us on loan when we first got promoted back to Serie B in 2022. So those were the lineups. Like I said, the first half was nowhere near good enough. We created nothing. We were kind of basically playing like the Palermo we were before the previous 3 games, where we've started to turn things around. That poor performance came back into it. It was not good enough. I always say this: performances like that are not going to get us promoted. It's as simple as that. If we, whether it's automatic promotion or through the playoffs, if we want to go up, we can't play like that. It's as simple as that. A team like that doesn't deserve to be in Serie A. And second half, though, there was a reaction, albeit I still think for the first 5-10 minutes, Avellino were. I mean, we didn't wake up straight away in the second half. Like Avellino, I don't know how they missed there. They went. Ceccaroni made an awful back pass, and obviously they went through on goal 1v1. Their player takes it round John and then somehow doesn't put it in the net. I don't know how they didn't make it 2-0 at that point, but that is what proved to be a turning point in this game because Avellino, like I said, came out even in the second half, still looked the better team, still looked like the team that were going to get the next goal. Had a clear chance thanks to a mistake from Ceccaroni, but they missed, and that proved to be a turning point because from that point, I did think Palermo finally started to wake up. We finally got a grip of the game. We finally started putting some sustained pressure on Avellino, and the goal came. And when the goal came, it wasn't a surprise because I thought we had upped the level. The intensity was better. And it was Ranocchia after their keeper made a great save. Ranocchia, first goal of the season, put it in. Great finish, to be fair, from him. And Palermo make it 1-1. And the momentum was with us. We had got the game, back under control, albeit we never really had control of that game up until they missed that chance, that really easy chance, like I mentioned. That was clearly a turning point in this game. We get the equalizer. Finally, it took us quite a while. We got there. And we actually had a bit of sustained possession, some control. And then we get the penalty. Quite controversial. I think that, if I'm being honest, those penalties, I've seen them not given before. It's one of those handball ones where you can debate, is he making his body bigger? Is his hand, how close is it to his body that's actually, making it bigger and stuff? A bit of a dubious penalty. I think we did. Look, it's one of those where they can get given. They might not get given sometimes. We got lucky that it was given. For me, it's a 50-50 one. It's one of those 50-50 just handballs. And I'll tell you this. The handball that was... I know we're going to talk about Spurs on tomorrow, but Curtis Jones' handball was way more of a handball than this one. And the one, obviously, yesterday didn't get given for Spurs. But this one, for Palermo, did get given. Poyampalo, very reliable from the spot. Of course, puts it away. Now up to 11 goals for the season. Definitely, the player that, if we are going to get promoted, Poyampalo's goals are for sure going to fire us there. And we go 2-1 up. Like I said, we had improved our game. We were doing better. What time were the subs at? Claudio Gomez, Giassi. Definitely did quite well off the bench, I thought. But Diakite. Salim Diakite happens. Look, it's one of those where, kind of like the penalty, it's one of those 50-50 ones where, look, it was a second yellow card. Not sure if there's an awful lot in it, but at the same time, you don't need to do what he did. He just doesn't need to, kind of get booked. Avellino, they weren't in a dangerous situation. He can just leave the player. I don't know what he's trying to do, if he's trying to go for a header. It still doesn't make... That incident still doesn't make any sense to me. No sense whatsoever. It's one of those where, it's not a great yellow card to pick up. And obviously it cost us. And it wasn't just the red card that annoys me of Diakite. It was his performance. He was by far the worst player on the pitch across both teams. He was awful. Absolutely horrendous. And I keep saying this over and over again. This guy is not a right wing back. All he does is run. All he does is run. He has no end product. He can't put it across. He can't defend properly. He is not a right wing back. All he does is run. Great. I'm glad that he's running, but that's it. That's literally it. He's just a sprinter up and down. That's literally it. And obviously that cost us because Avellino go and equalise literally a minute after he gets sent off. To be fair, an incredible goal from their player. It was almost like a scissor kick.
Oh, yeah.
Sort of.
Really good
yeah, it was incredible. I have to say, look, fair play to Avellino. It was actually Palumbo, a different Palumbo, not our Palumbo. It was Martin Palumbo off the bench for them. Incredible goal, incredible finish. Obviously tight for offside. It was sort of went to VAR, but they ended up giving it. Look, there's a couple of things to say. Like I said, the red card was, and yeah, absolute facts. We will talk. Don't worry. We will. I have a lot to say.
To be honest, they were also about the Newcastle game, but
I have a lot to say about this tomorrow. Yeah, because I am fuming with what happened yesterday with Spurs. But yeah, on to Palermo. Like I was saying, they equalised still with, I think, 6 minutes of stoppage time. To be fair, Jolonen actually made a really decent save. I mean, I know it was sort of a catch, but he kind of stopped it. It looked like it crossed the line for a minute, if I'm being honest. And then, so Avellino, after they got the goal with them having the extra man, the tide turned again for the last 6 minutes. They were the ones pushing for the winning goal. Didn't get it, thankfully. But yeah, it was just very frustrating because, look, like I said, I think a draw was a fair result. Like I said, Avellino were, I think if I'm honest, probably, I know definitely in the first half, but if I'm taking the whole game into account, they were the better team for most of it. Palermo had a good spell, which, to be fair, we did take advantage of. We did get the equaliser, then the penalty and everything. We did take advantages of a good spell when we were on top. However, we weren't on top for enough of this game. And look, at the end of the day, it's easy to say Diakite did cost us this whole game because I think that in some ways he did. Getting sent off, putting in an absolute stinker of stinkers in that performance. But at the same time, we need more from our team. The first half was nowhere near good enough on a whole. So, yeah, like I said, a draw was a fair result. It's just it's just really annoying in the manner that it happened. We went 2-1 up, could have won the game. Diakite decides to just basically screw us over essentially, and they obviously go and get the equalizer pretty quickly after. So. Yeah, obviously, but like I said, we got lucky as well. They should have gone 2-0 up, at the start of the second half. And then at that point, it's a totally different game. So, yeah, definitely frustrating in a lot of ways. But I do want to talk about Diakite a bit because he's somebody that I, had quite high hopes for this season because I felt that, this is facts. Absolute facts. Yeah, exactly this. Yeah, pretty much hit the nail on the head there. Like I was saying, Diakite, I had hopes for him this season because last season he wasn't good, and I felt that that was a lot to do with the manager and kind of the situation we were in. Because when Diakite, when he first came to Palermo in January of 2024, he was absolutely brilliant. He came in, he was scoring goals, from right back. At the time we were playing with more of a back four. Right back, he scored obviously a brace in that playoff game against Sampdoria that season as well. So Diakite, when he first came in, we got him from Ternana, who are now in the Serie C. When he first came in for those 6 months, he was brilliant. He was probably our best player in that time, if I'm being honest. He was really good. But since then, we've just never seen that Diakite. We've never seen him be quite as good as that since then. And I was hoping this season under Inzaghi, obviously we know the type of manager Inzaghi is, with what he did with Pisa last season, and obviously just in general the excitement of when he came to Palermo. I was hoping that someone like Diakite could kind of get back to those levels than that he had when he first joined us, but it just hasn't happened. It just hasn't happened at all this season. And look, obviously the frustrating thing is that look, with Pierotti's injury, which I'm hoping he isn't out for a long time, but until he's back, we probably are going to see Diakite there because we don't really have another sort of option. Diakite, I mean, Giassi, we can play there. I'm hoping Giassi is the one we go with him coming back from injury, but Inzaghi hasn't really played him there much. He's preferred to play him in the front three in one of these two positions. So we'll see. I would like to see Giassi come in ahead of Diakite against Padova in our next game, but we'll have to see. But yeah, I mean, obviously, there's a good chance he will because Diakite will be suspended. So that there is a chance that, we're going to have to do something there. We're going to have to change it. So, but yeah, Diakite, I think it's time. I think he's somebody that we have to sell. I don't think he's just so inconsistent. He came in, like I said, when he came in, he was brilliant. Since then, he's just been very inconsistent, not at those levels. And ultimately cost us this game, of that red card. But then, like I said, first half, the whole team was poor. So you can't just blame sort of Diakite. But overall, not a good, not a good result for Palermo against newly promoted Avellino. Who, look, to be fair, Avellino have been doing well. They have been sort of a surprise package this season, but at the same time, if we're getting these are the kind of games we have to be winning. It's as simple as that. Obviously we've drawn at Virtus Entella recently as well. Avellino was another away game against a newly promoted side that we failed to win, and yeah, not good whatsoever. Obviously for the table, sitting fifth now. Venezia have gone above us. We have gained a point on Modena, which is good after Venezia beat them. But at the same time, we have now moved 4 points from the automatic spots, which, look, we're not out of it. But like I said, results like yesterday is what will cost us. Results like yesterday, if it keeps happening, that will cost us getting in the top two. And that's the problem. And that's been the problem with Palermo this season. So, look, we're sitting fifth at the moment. Like I said, we're still in the mix for sure. But ultimately, we have to do better. It's as simple as that. And we have to get, look, Monza, obviously, were relegated last season. They got good players. Frosinone, I mean, just these absolute bastards, man. I don't know. I know Frosinone were in Serie A recently, but I don't know where this came from. I know they changed managers and they got some players, but last season they almost got relegated. They were terrible last season, and look, these fucking bastards, man. For those that don't know, they cheated Palermo. They cheated against us, and got promoted in that playoff final in 2018, I think it was. Yeah, if you guys want to know, go and look it up. It was a whole controversy there. So yeah, Frosinone. Look, they deserve to be top. They've been the best team. They're sort of running away with it a bit at the moment. So I think, yeah, Frosinone, top spot's definitely theirs to lose, but still, look, definitely still in contention for that automatic spot. But we have to do better. And yeah, big up to Evolve today. Yeah, we'll talk about it tomorrow. About Spurs, but yeah, not looking good at the moment in terms of 4 points isn't great. Still doable with obviously that we're not even quite halfway through the season yet. So but not a great result yesterday. Not a great result yesterday, and it's games like that we got to be winning. It's as simple as that. So. Yeah, not great in terms of stats. As you can see, they had more shots on target. Somehow we had a higher XG than them. But yeah, only 3 shots on target for them. Yeah, look, we like I said, they should have gone 2-0 up. After they got the first goal, they had the chance to go 2-0 up. Didn't take it. The game changed in our favor. But then obviously, yeah, we know how how it ended and everything. But yeah, 10. What were your thoughts on Palermo and our draw, Avellino?
Yeah, I think actually for any neutral, I think it probably a good game to watch. I would say. Obviously, this game didn't have 2 red cards. There was 1, but yeah, I do think that this game against Avellino, first half, I think they were the better team. Avellino, yeah, they've had 9 shots on target as well, so they look pretty good on target. But a very good goal. Who was it again? The Ranocchia, I believe, scoring the first goal.
Yeah.
That was a really good finish. And it did seem like it was coming at that time. And then obviously got that handball, which eventually...
Do you think it was a penalty? I mean, what's your thoughts?
It looked like it struck the arm of the player of Avellino. And then obviously Paolo, at least now he's been scoring consistently. You can call him Paolo, I guess.
He's already his name already starts with a P. So
yeah. But
oh my god.
I'm not going to. I think he's in the AFCON anyway. If I'm not.
He is, yeah, with Mali, yeah.
And they play tomorrow. But I think the red card, Diakite, not great. Especially you're winning 2-1 and then
exactly, and then he goes and does that. Like it's a
couple minutes later, obviously you don't see it coming, but 2 minutes later, Avellino score, which I would say is probably one of the best goals.
Oh, it was an incredible goal, but still, it's fucking annoying.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
But yeah, I would say it was a good performance actually from both teams. I would say, but I think the Ukite did ruin it for Palermo. So I'd say a draw.
Well, like I said, it wasn't even just a red card. His performance was an absolute stinker.
Yeah, and I think overall just not been the best player, and obviously he's going to be suspended in the next game against Padova. So yeah, it will be interesting to see how Palermo adjust their team for that game on Saturday, I believe. So we'll see. But even like if you look at the standings, I do think that like it is still pretty tight. I think obviously it's not helped that a certain team is first place, but I think at the moment, unbeaten so far in the last 6 games, I believe.
6 games, yeah, 6 game unbeaten run.
Yeah, so I think right now it's at least you've gone into Form L. The scores have just changed in Sutiro.
Oh, Sutiro. I mean, yeah, versus Centella.
Yeah, but I think in terms of expectation in Serie B, you would probably still expect Palermo by the end of it to be the ones challenging and being in the top two, but we'll see. We will see. But I think at the moment right now it was about making sure that you are within touching distance of the top two. And it's only by 4 points, so it's not that far away as well.
It's just frustrating because obviously, yeah, like the teams around us won. Venezia, Monza, Frosinone, they all won. I mean, the way I see it at the moment is in terms of, like, I think it's fair to say, like, I know it's still early. I mean, it can change, but I think Frosinone, I think, will finish in the top two. I'm very confident of that. So I think in terms of like the fight for second or first potentially, depending on what happens with Frosinone, I think it's between, in terms of who's going to fight Monza for that spot, I think it's between, these three. I think us, Cesena, and Venezia. I think it will be...
And Monza.
Yeah, Monza, of course. I'm saying, who could overtake Monza, I think. I think these three teams, Modena, are dropping off like I predicted. I know they were top at the start. They're dropping off like I knew they would. And then when you go down here, I know it's very tight at the moment, but I think you'll see Catanzaro, Juve, Stabia, I think, fighting for those final playoff spots with eventually, I think you'll see... it could be anyone. I mean, Padova and Avellino for newly promoted teams are doing quite well. So, not Empoli. I mean, not with that manager. No way. Yeah, that's how I think it will play out. I think in terms, when I look at quality, when I look at the managers of these teams, I think you'll see, Venezia, Cesena, Palermo, I think will be in that mix for the automatic promotion. Kind of come the latter end of the season and everything. Obviously, just hoping that we are, that we can do it. Will we have enough? I mean, I think January is going to be interesting. There's obviously a lot of rumors at the moment going on. We're looking at quite a few players. I mean, one of the biggest talking points at the moment is Brunori could be leaving. Our captain, who's been here for 4.5 years, could be leaving. Not really getting in the team this season. Hasn't found his way under Inzaghi. He's been linked with the likes of Modena, which I don't think we should sell him to Modena because that's selling to a rival. Look, they're very close to us in the table. He has been linked with Sampdoria, but I don't think he would go there. So we'll see what happens. But I don't know. I think if Brunori leaves, we have to bring someone in that position because I think that, look, we got Giacomo Corona, but I don't think he's quite ready to kind of step in consistently if he needs to. I think, like I said with Palermo, January, I think if we're going to really push for that automatic promotion, and I'll be honest, look, I'm not worried about us slipping out of the playoffs. Playoffs, we will be fine. I'm very, very confident about that. But in January, no, I'm confident. I'm not worried about us slipping out of the playoffs. I'm looking up. I'm still looking up rather than down at the moment. But in terms of January, we need to sign players. I said this already. We need somebody with pace because I don't think we have enough pace in our team. I think we need a wide player that's going to inject a bit of pace and quality into our front line. Because I think, look, Leduran's doing well. Palumbo's obviously found his feet as well. And Poyampalo's scoring goals. But I think they're all quite similar. we need somebody a bit different. We just need, whether it's somebody that can come off the bench or start, whichever one it is. I just think we need someone in there with a bit of pace that can kind of, run at defenders and just give us something different, I think. I mean, we have been linked with Alessio Zerbin, who I believe is at where I know he's been at Napoli. Where actually is he now? I know it's somebody in Serie A. Zerbin. He is Cremonese. That's where he's at. Cremonese. I think he's obviously on loan from Napoli. There's talk of us, taking him on loan second half of the season, which I think, look, he's obviously a winger. Not the fastest, but I think he does help. He would definitely improve our forward line. Look, in Serie A, he's not at that level, but for Serie B, I think he can definitely offer something. Another player is Salvatore Esposito, which I think is the perfect midfielder to come in. He's obviously at Spezia, who are struggling right now. I think he'd be a great signing. There's a couple of other players as well. There's somebody from Pisa who we've been linked with, who I can't remember who it was, but there's been a lot of rumors going on at the moment. I just hope that we get the business done early. I hope that Carlo Osti is, getting things ready for January. And hopefully we move quickly. Hopefully we move quickly. And because I do think with the position we're at, obviously sitting fifth, a few points off the automatic spots. I think January is a big month. I think Palermo have to really go out there and, do something this market, I think. So, yeah, well, any other thoughts on Palermo and kind of, the standings and the current sort of situation?
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what Palermo do in January and see how they improve the squad, because I think there has to be some improvements. I would say probably more in terms of like being a little bit more creative and clinical, I would say. Because if Palo's not scoring the goals, then it's going to be a little bit difficult. So I think someone that can help support him, maybe, or even someone that could be a little bit more creative, like you said, with Esposito, could be someone like that. So I would say have more creativity and maybe a decent-ish backup, like how we have it at Depot, where we have Zakaria, Molutieri, and Stoichkov. If Palermo could have someone in and around like a Stoichkov or Molutieri type of player at Palermo to kind of help support the rotation for Palo if he isn't scoring, then maybe someone that can offer that sort of threat equally in something different. So I'd say someone creative and or a support striker, you could say, would be.
Just looking here at like kind of our options. Vere, I don't know how he's still here, to be honest. I mean, he basically with Vere, he wasn't included in the squad for this season because he wasn't in the manager's plans, Inzaghi, and I think he is close to leaving in January. Like I said, Corona, we do have him, but like I said, can we rely on him to be if Brunori leaves, which at the moment is looking likely? Can we rely on Corona? I'm not sure. I think Corona might go out on loan this January as well. So we'll see. But I think, especially if Brunori leaves, we have to get a striker. I think we have to get either a striker or a sort of wide player at least. Looking at that, I would go for a forward, whether it's another striker or a wide player, and I'd go for a midfielder as well. I think Vasic is somebody that could leave. I think if he leaves, I think we'll see somebody come in as well. I would say if I'm looking at who Palermo need to sign, I'd say definitely a midfielder and a forward. That's for sure. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But obviously next week we do play Padova. Then after we will have the winter break. So ours starts a week later than Deportivo's. Obviously Padova. Look, this will not be easy. They're doing well. They're sitting ninth, just outside the playoffs as a newly promoted team. They're having quite a good season. Obviously, Padova, the last time we played them was very famous. It was the playoff final in Serie C, where we won 2-0 over 2 legs, 1-0 both ways. And look, Padova, like I said, they're doing well. They've kind of like Avellino, have been quite surprising this season. So this will be quite tough. But at home, look, that's another thing to point out. Away from home, we have struggled this season. Away from home, we've definitely been much better at home this season than we have. Yeah, apart from that, we overall, we've definitely been much better at home than we have been away this season. So look, with us being at home, I'm going to back us. But it's I'm telling you that, like I said with Avellino, Padova, they're one of these teams that you can't underestimate. If we go into this game and we think we're going to rock up and beat them, it's not going to happen. They're a team that they're quite solid defensively, and like I said, they can punish you if you're not on it. So, I'm expecting a better performance. I'm expecting us to go out there, being at home, like we did against Calarese, like we did against Pescara not so long ago as well. Sampdoria as well. At Sampdoria, we weren't great, but we got the win. We got the result 1-0. So I'm expecting a better performance. Being at home, we have to win this game 100%. And big up to Jordan in the chat as well. Look, congrats on the result yesterday, but the referee was definitely on your side. That's for sure. But we will talk about that tomorrow, of course. But yeah, big up to Jordan. But so, look, this part of a game has to be a win. It's as simple as that. Again, another game at home that I'm looking at and saying, yeah, we should be going out there and winning. So, yeah, Ten, I'll let you go first. What's your prediction for Palermo Padova next week before the winter break for us?
Yeah, I mean, you end 2025 with a team ending in over, and you begin the year 2026 playing a team also named Over.
Mantova. Yeah, Padova and Mantova.
Yeah, so you're facing the Siamese twins of names, you could say. And, it might be a bad over, or hopefully Palermo don't bad over for Padova in this game. Obviously, you could say Padova maybe looking for a bit of revenge from that playoff in a few years ago against Palermo. So they will be up for it, especially now that they're in and around a playoff. And if they were to win, I think they would be ending the year with being in the playoff, which is something they didn't expect, and they could push on. So, yeah, I would say definitely don't underestimate Padova. Otherwise, it might be a bad omen for Palermo.
They're a solid Padova. I've been quietly impressed with them at times. They're a solid team. Definitely better than I expected.
And I think, obviously, with the Diakite suspension, I think there'll be a little bit of defensive changes in and around the team. So I'll go with another draw in this one. I will go another 2-2 for Palermo. I just think Padova will be up for this game, but I still think Palampalo, Palumbo, and a few others could still turn up for Palermo and score the goals. So I'll go 2-2 against Padova before you play Mantova.
Yeah, I think in terms of prediction, I'm going to back us because we're at home. At home, I definitely feel a lot more confident in Palermo than I do when we play away. So I'm gonna say 2-0. 2-0 to Palermo. I think we'll bounce. I'm hoping so anyway. I think we'll bounce back. I think, look, Padova will be tough. They'll definitely be in the game. But I think in the end, we have that bit more quality. And I think that will probably just about get us over the line. So I reckon 2-0 to Palermo and hopefully a win going into the winter break before we come back in January and play Mantova, of course. So, yeah, that is, I think, going to wrap up the show. La Piña Rosa.
Unless you want to do the season awards.
Forgot, yeah. I completely forgot. Yeah, so like I said at the start of the show, which, I stupidly forgot that we were going to do. Let's talk seeing as, we're going into the winter breaks pretty quickly. We're going to do, like I said, we're going to do some mid-season sort of awards, player of the season, game, best performance of the season, and goal of the season so far. So, Ten, I'll let you go first with Deportivo. What are your choices for those?
So for Deportivo, I made 3 nominations for the player and the game or the performance. And then I nominated 5 goals of the season.
Oh, wow.
especially because we are quite high goal scoring apart from this month. We're still continuing.
Yeah, no, Miles, my bad. That was my bad.
Yeah,
That was my bad.
but still very good show. But play of the season, my nominees are Mario Soriano, Zakaria, and Jeremiah Hernandez. And the winner, in my opinion, it's tough, but he's been very influential. Is a big name. Hopefully, he doesn't leave. I'm going with Jeremiah as the current player of the season for us. I'll say Soriano second and Zakaria third. So surprisingly, David Mayo's not even in the
it's interesting.
That's probably mainly because he was at the U20 World Cup or U20 World Cup. Not really had the best performances in a few games, whereas Jeremiah, I think, and Soriano and Zakaria have been more consistent, I would say, but at least Zakaria obviously scoring the goals for us. So I would say Jeremiah and Soriano have been our best two players, but I'll give the edge to Jeremiah, just the quality he offers to us. So my play of the season for us is Jeremiah Hernandez. So yeah, I'll go with him as my player of the season. I guess can do Palermo as well if Charlie's back. But yeah, I'll go with Jeremiah mainly because I think he offers a lot more quality and cutting edge, and obviously I think he has more goals and assists than Soriano as well. So play of the season, Jeremiah Hernandez, and I guess can do Palermo's play of the season.
So for Palermo's player of the season, I have a couple of nominees as well. So obviously Poyampalo being the top scorer, finally found his feet in, the last month or so, on a really good run of goal scoring form at the moment. Nicola Pirozzi, brilliant this season from right wing back. And the other one I went with was Mattia Banni. Banni, who came in from Genoa in the summer, has been definitely our best centre-back this season, has been really good for us in defence this season. So those are my three nominations. My player of the season so far is, I mentioned it earlier, you probably heard it if you were listening to the stream earlier, Nicola Pirozzi. Definitely has come on leaps and bounds this season. Wasn't great last season. Since Inzaghi's come in, Inzaghi has worked with him before. And Pirozzi has gone to another level this season. He has been absolutely brilliant. Scoring goals, is a goal threat from wing back, gets assists as well. Is definitely, I would say, the best right wing back in the league in Serie B. And I think he's been brilliant for us this year. So for me, I'm going for Pirozzi for Palermo's player of the season. So I guess we'll move on to Deportivo's. What is your game? What is your best performance, you would say, so far?
Well, I have three nominees or three nominated games. In order of chronological, I have when we beat Miranda's 5-1 at their, well, not really at their stadium. It was in Victoria. So we beat them at the Alaves Stadium. I also have the one I actually did a watch long for when we beat Huesca 4-0. And the third nominated game is when we beat Leonessa in that very good run of form in November, 3-0 win at home. And the performance or the game of the season or half season, so far, I have picked the away game. I'm saying our win at Miranda's is our best performance of the season. Obviously, that was when Zakaria scored a hat-trick and Luis Cruz scored a brace in that game before Zakaria came on to score his hat-trick. And even though we did concede a goal in that game, but I think we were just a better team and really good performance from us. And big up to Dylan.
Oh yeah, big up to Dylan every single time.
Yeah. But yeah, I'll go with our win against Miranda's. Second place, I'll go Huesca when we beat them 4-0, the watch long I did. And Leonessa 3-0 in third place. So I'll go our win against Miranda's as our performance or game of the half season, you can say.
Yeah, I reckon for me, for Palermo, look, obviously we've had 2 5-0s, beating Pescara 5-0 and
I know which one you're picking.
Cadarese 5-0. I think you've said it. I mean, it's definitely an honourable mention. I've got a few actually. I mean, the early performances were good against Sud Tirol. Really good performance. Bari at home 2-0. I thought we played well in. I want to say Empoli. I want to say it just because of obviously it's Dionisi and stuff. However, that isn't the one I chose, but I want to mention it as an honourable mention. The one I chose was, of course, it had to be one of the 5-0s. It was Carrarese. Very recently, a couple of weeks ago, a 5-0 win at home. Thought we were excellent in that game. I think, look, Carrarese, I know they were bad on the day, but I thought we really played some great football in that game. And I think, yeah, it was between, look, Pescara. I think that that one was less so because of Pescara, that they're rock bottom. It should have been a very convincing win. But Carrarese, I think, is my choice for performance of the season so far. But yeah, definitely Empoli away recently. That is an honourable mention for sure.
Yeah, I guess goal of the half season.
Oh, yeah, goal of the season so far. Who did you choose for Deportivo?
I have 5 nominations for this because we do score a lot of goals, even though not as recent in December. And
so basically, Dylan, if you're new to the channel, so basically, I am a Spurs fan. 10 is a Newcastle fan, but we both have links to Spain and Italy. And in Italy, I'm a Palermo fan, and in Spain, 10 is a Deportivo fan. So if you're new to the chat, yeah, Dylan, if you're new, that is who we support, basically.
Yeah. I am assuming with your profile you do support Man United. I'm just saying we will lose to Man United on Boxing Day. I know. But yeah, goal of the season. My nominees in chronological order is actually our very first goal of the season. Soriano's goal against Granada away, where it was a team goal, like and then goal. So I have that as a nomination. The second nomination was when we beat Sporting Gijón at home. Bafia top corner goal against them, especially against you could say a rival of us in the almost basically last minute. So I have that as a nomination. I have to pick one of their goals against Mirandes, and that was the second goal of Luis Cruz. A really good finish in that game when we made it, I believe, 2-0 in that one. And then the final 2 nominees came from the same game, and both were the only goals of that game when we beat Zaragoza. Soriano's free kick, or it wasn't really a free kick, but he did score from that free kick routine, top corner. And then David Meyer, when Jeremiah made a back heel assist, running basically the length of the pitch, you could say, which David Meyer did score. Yeah.
Dylan, tomorrow we will be live at 11:30 a.m. UK time, where we're going to be talking about Spurs and Newcastle. So you will hear my thoughts on that tomorrow, and I have a lot to say.
And we will also preview the Boxing Day game as well.
Yeah,
I've already said we'll lose. But tough choices for goal of the season. In 5th place, I have Luis Cruz's goal against Mirandes, the second one. In 4th place, I'll go with the team goal of Soriano against Granada. 3rd place, I also have Soriano's goal against Zaragoza, the top corner goal. So the final 2, the top 2 goals are either Bafia's goal against Sporting Gijón or David Meyer's goal against Zaragoza, mainly because of the assist from Jeremiah, the back heel assist, if you remember. My pick for goal of the season so far, they're both really good goals, but to beat one of your rivals is definitely up there. So I have to go with Bafia's goal against Sporting Gijón in the 89th minute winner. So I'll go with Bafia's goal against Sporting Gijón, top corner goal, beating, in a way, one of our rivals, you could say, especially, to be honest, political rivals with Gijón. So I will go with Bafia's goal against Sporting Gijón as our current so far goal of the season, but I was very close with saying David Meyer's goal, mainly because of Jeremiah's back heel assist against Zaragoza. But very good goals that we can talk about for Deportivo. So I'll go with Bafia against Sporting Gijón early on in the season in September as the current goal of the season.
Yeah, I mean, for Palermo, there's actually not as much sort of choice, because I don't think we've scored many like pretty goals, if you could say that. I don't think our catalogue of goals so far have been like very like pretty, if that makes sense. But there's a few. One honorable mention is against Sutil early in the season, that kind of breakaway goal that we scored, great team goal for Point Palo. There was like I said, there's not many like clear like great goals. We haven't scored like loads of like screamers this season, but the one I did choose was quite, again, in that game against Carrarese, was Jacopo Segre. His goal, it was from outside the box, good finish, into the bottom corner. And yeah, that's the one I've chosen. Another honorable mention was actually Ranocchia's goal yesterday. That was a pretty good finish yesterday. So yeah, but I'm going to go for Segre's goal, I think, against Carrarese. That's probably goal of the season so far. But again, we haven't scored the most spectacular goals this season. So
yeah,
so there you go.
So, some good awards, you could say.
Yeah, I think so. But hopefully, second half of the season, both our teams, most importantly, can achieve the goals, which is getting promoted, whether that's through the playoffs or automatic promotion.
Or get into Europe.
If you win the cup, I mean, that'd be crazy. But yeah, let's see. Like I said, hopefully after the winter breaks, both teams can sort of come back and, push for the automatic promotion that both, of course, need this season. Both would both definitely need to get promoted this season, that's for sure. Yeah. So because it wouldn't be strange if what would be strange is if one of us gets promoted, and then if we're doing the show next season, it's like one of us is in Serie A or La Liga, and then one of us is still in the second division.
Yeah, or maybe we're both in the same tier, second division.
Hopefully we're both promoted. That's what would be great. Hopefully we're both promoted.
Yeah, but we'll see. We'll see come May, June.
Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, I guess that will wrap up the show. Like I said, this will be the last show of La Piña Rosa before the new year. We will be back, I believe, on the 5th or 4th of January, around that time. So just early January, when both teams come back, or Deportivo come back, I think, before. So yeah, obviously tomorrow we will be back live talking about Spurs and Newcastle, where I think we're both going to have a lot of strong words to say surrounding both of our teams. It's obviously not looking good there. So yeah, and if you haven't already, guys, check this out later. 10 we'll be doing a watch along of Morocco against Comoros for AFCON. I believe that's the opening game, isn't it?
Yep, opening game, 7 p.m. UK time.
Yeah, so later on, go and tune into that, guys.
2-3 hours.
2-3 hours, yeah, something like that. So yeah, like I said, please do subscribe to both channels. Big up to everybody in the chat today. And we will see you tomorrow, 11:30 a.m. UK time. Final show before Christmas. And yeah, big up everyone for watching, and we will see you in the next one.
Yeah, and Palermo will win Serie A in